Hi, my name is Zachary Greenberg,
I'm Abigail Rockland.
and we're here with the OU Accelerator team with our first Cohort 1 featured venture, Reva Judas. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. We're really excited to hear all about you and your venture and can't wait to get this thing started.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited too.
Yeah, so pumped. So let's just get right to it. So can you first give us a little bit about your background? Like where you've worked, how you got involved. We started with Nechama Comfort.
Okay, so the idea I developed for Nechama Comfort for the organization started 33 years ago when unfortunately our firstborn son lived for only 12 hours. He passed away with a congenital heart defect. And society was very different at that time. People didn't talk about any type of loss or grief or illnesses. Basically, we were there to mourn alone. We named our son Pesach and we buried him, which wasn't as common as it is today to do. And we were fortunate to have guidance from my father, who was able to help us through the Jewish law part of it. But basically, we went home and went about our lives. Um, got pregnant right away, as the doctor had
That's great.
recommended, and people started reaching out, but in a very secret manner that they also have losses, and we would talk about it, and then not discuss it if we would see each other in public. I was teaching at the time. I'm a preschool kindergarten teacher, and just went back to life as normal, but it was really our new normal.
Right. You actually taught me in kindergarten back in the day.
That's right. That's right. Very proud. I'm very proud.
Yeah. So after you taught it, I mean, I know I went to Mariah, but you taught there for how many years?
I taught at the JCC in the Palisades first, then Garnino, local preschool, and then I was in Mariah for 22 years.
Wow. And then around the end of that time, you started Nechama Comfort.
So then the need had grown over the years. Uh, before before 2006, we support groups and support systems were being opened up in local hospitals. Uh, People as a whole society started sharing more about all types of loss and grief, including infant pregnancy loss, which is early miscarriage through the age of 1. And our local Lamaze teacher in Teaneck, Johanna Gorab, had been trained in a program called Resolve Through Share in Wisconsin, and came back and brought that support system locally. I had joined the group both for myself and helping other people. We had already also experienced 6 miscarriages, and thank God we have 4 living children and grandchildren. But during that time, the need for helping others, men, women, extended family, as well as educating rabbis, doctors, and the Jewish community at large, influenced me to develop further the organization.
So can you tell us a little bit about how Nechama Comfort's structured and what it actually does?
So 5 years ago, I did leave Mariah and was working part-time at Yachad, a few other organizations. And in 2010, we became a legal entity in the state of New Jersey. And then in 2000,
That's amazing.
And then 5 years ago, we were brought into the Jewish Family and Children's Services of Northern New Jersey, where we were fiscally housed. We were able to receive donations through their nonprofit status. We were able to have space for our support groups. In return, we were able to have their mental health staff working with us. For many years, I had one volunteer, Ellen Krischer, and then 3 years ago, have two other volunteers now, Esther
Nice.
Levy and Sharon Barth. So when we realized that we needed to grow, we have developed many programming in terms of guidance and support and counseling. I also went back and got trained in the Resolve Through Share Infant Pregnancy Loss Facilitator program. And I went back to receive my chaplaincy certification through Hackensack Medical Center. So we structured it that
Wait, what's the chaplain thing? That's what exactly?
That a chaplaincy certification, a chaplaincy program helps trains people to reach out in a capacity of to involve spirituality and faith in reaching out to clients who are going through a variety of crisis and life-changing moments.
So you got a Jewish chaplaincy, or it's just
I
general?
went to Hackensack Medical Center. It was not a Jewish chaplaincy program. It was a non-denominational program, which actually I did it for the convenience. I was still teaching, but it was really amazing because I learned many customs that other religions and cultures incorporate in their lives, especially near-death moments and mourning and grieving. And I was able to share what we do in Judaism and use that as well while I was at the program.
What is the Judaism, I guess, customs after like miscarriages? Like usually, like I guess there's Shiva, but I don't think that starts until like a certain age, right?
So when it comes to the laws of Avelus, the Jewish laws of mourning, we have spoken with, and with the help of our Rabbi Yosef Adler, my father, Rabbi Simcha Green, we were able to get to other poskim in many different realms of Judaism. We really work with, as we say, the atheists through the Orthodox Jews. And when we learn and study, we realize there isn't the same halachas of Avelus for an infant that it doesn't survive past 30 days of birth, which includes early miscarriage until 30 days. Over 30 days, if the baby comes home and then passes away, there is Shiva. Some people hold if the baby stays in the hospital, then it doesn't occur. So there is no formal laws. That bothered my husband and I a lot because we believe that life begins at conception. So it didn't make sense. What we've learned over the years is that maybe God had some rachamim, some sympathy on these families, that they've gone through this unique sudden loss, and if they were forced to observe the laws of Avelus, they may or may not, and then there'd be an extra guilt and a much difficult time. But because there is no laws, the couples can be offered the choices of how they want to mourn and grieve. And just because there's no laws, they are still going through the grief process.
So is part of what Nechama Comfort does not only is with these groups, but do you also help people decide what to do halachically?
We really work with the couple as soon as we get the call. Sometimes it's before the loss, during, after, or even years later. So the main goal of Nechama Comfort is choices. We want the couple to know what choices are available to them in terms of the burial and the naming. There was a custom years ago really based on society and really based on traditions that the couple shouldn't know where the baby's buried, the couple shouldn't be given a name. That's really only in the last 100 years. If you go to old cemeteries in Europe or in America, you will see that babies were buried and given names, and there was a matzeva stone put on their grave. So we really want them to all have the choices of how to bury the baby, where to. We really can help with so many of the logistics as well as the comforting and the grief, moving through it, not moving past it.
So you've kind of touched on that Nechama Comfort offers like support for families, and they like offer some sort of training. Like, what are like the specific services that Nechama Comfort offers like different people?
So we offer to the couple, the husband and wife, we offer guidance and counseling, concrete information, how to, each stage, whenever they reach out to him. It's really the choices again, and how to put this tragedy, this child, into their lives and to move through it. You're never going to move past it, but in an individual basis, how are you going to process and make this child a part of your life? We work with the extended family, grandparents, siblings, other children, future children, as well as educational training and programming for rabbis and rebbitzins, at Sod Halacha, Jewish communities at large, hospitals and doctors as well.
That's great. So, I mean, this is something that I've been very curious about, like after hearing everything you're saying, and you even mentioned it yourself a bunch of times that like miscarriages is like definitely something very hard, and it's like a very sensitive subject and something that like is just not spoken about so much. So how does Nechama Comfort like learn to embrace that discomfort and help so many people that are going through similar experiences?
So we want people to feel that they're part of a community. We say you've joined the club you never wanted to join, but you're a lifetime member. So it's really for people not to feel alone. I think the world celebrities or people on Instagram have come out to discuss their losses. So people are starting to feel more comfortable. Also, when the losses happen, we hope that doctors have gone through our sensitivity training and have to be able to reach out and to have a safe place to be part of.
It sounds like Nechama Comfort really does amazing things for a lot of people. So now sort of switching gears and we are with the OU Impact Accelerator. Can you tell us, and you were part of the first cohort, so it was a little different back then. So can you tell us a little bit about how you heard about it and everything from that?
So we had developed so much of the educational programming and the counseling and the grief process. We did so much of the training. We knew we are the only Jewish organization that works specifically in this field of infant pregnancy loss for all Jews in any realm of Judaism. We knew we were missing the business piece of what we needed to do. The volunteers come with all different parts of training, but I was never an MBA major or even getting advice from all different people. We really knew we needed a set program, and we were lacking in this training. When we heard about the program, we heard about it within 24 hours from different people. One of our clients, who's also our board member, who worked for the OU and NCSY, Dan Hazon, emailed me. There's this program that we're going to announce tomorrow. Apply. My brother, Rabbi John Green, who runs Camp Sport, said, I just heard about this program, you have to apply, and a few other people. So we were very excited. We took it very seriously. Helen Krischer, who's been with me for many, many years, she took on the application. We were really stressed about it because we knew how much we wanted it. Yes, The funding was also going to be extremely important, but we knew we had heard about it, read about it, saw who was involved, and knew we needed this missing link for us to succeed. So we applied, we davened a lot. I think I made my OU connections a little crazy, especially my brother. Did you hear anything? My sister-in-law would say, well, I go grocery shopping every week and I see Moish Spain. I said, can you ask him? I saw Charlie Harari at my niece's graduation, who's good friends with his daughter. And my brother, introduced me, and I was tongue-tied because I was, which is not like me. So we really knew we needed this. And after, and I think many organizations feel like this, of course we're going to win, not to be, not humble, but nobody does what we do. We have to win. And when we went to the presentation night, we said, oh no, there are so many wonderful organizations. So we were so grateful when we received. I haven't felt like that since I think my college acceptance of getting into this program and really knowing that we were going to be given this opportunity, and this is going to help not just us. It was really for all the families and our clients in the past and to come that we wanted this to work.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so amazing. Just curious, how big was Nechama Comfort like before the accelerator? Like what prompted you to really feel the need that you wanted to join the accelerator?
So we knew people were reaching out to us more and more. We were getting more invitations to speak. We were getting more calls from couples. We were getting more calls from rabbis and rebbitzins. We had done a lot. We had the last 5 years. We do training for the YU Smicha students. We speak at the YU Rebbitzin conference. Our name was out there, and we knew we had to be able to figure out processes and funding and systems and all these things so that we could help these people.
Wow, that's amazing. So, so when you were part of the accelerator, can you give some examples of how the Impact Accelerator helped out your venture?
So we really came in, it was exciting. I think I said the first day when Alan Fagan was speaking, I remember listening to him, and part of me was my family were very part of the OU and YU. My grandmother had been one of the first NCSY youth leaders in Springfield, Massachusetts, and they had gone to women's branch, and I felt really excited that this was going to be a brand new program. And we knew we came in, I think I said, like you felt the first day of kindergarten. I had not had that feeling. So we knew that this was going to have our help, both in a concrete way. It took the fear that I had and some of my volunteers of getting our own 501c3. Calling the IRS was really not going to be so bad. We need insurance. What does that mean?
I still don't know what that means.
How to fundraise. They would tease me because the first session, which was 3 days, and one of the beautiful things was they had the insight, the people that picked the people to participate, that we really meshed together as a group, and it was really good to see. And we've learned that we had to work, it really was like kindergarten. And I think I told them, everything you learn in kindergarten, that's what you learn for life. How to listen, how to be participatory, all different sharing. And I think we needed to learn the ground rules, which was great. One of the things that I came in with the notion that I've always been involved with Chesed, being president of this organization, that, giving back, coming from a family, never understood how that a nonprofit could be a business. I taught a day
So we're not making, right, because it's it sounds more like kind of like a chesed campaign. Like you wouldn't think of it as like a business.
Right, right. So that, and I kept repeating it myself, as Jenna would say. I grew up in a rabbinical home in the 60s and 70s. Rabbis didn't get paid. They were just going to go to Gan Eden. It wasn't my mindset. So that was the first thing that really helped me to change my mindset, that in order for me to be able to help all these people, we have to become a thriving, financial, stable business. And once I got that understood, and that was with only the help of Jenna and the mentors and the accelerator, was I able then to focus on the next 3 sessions of, okay, tell me day one, what are we going to do? How are we going to fundraise? Where do we go for the donors? How are we going to turn an event into fundraising? But I never wanted to leave. My first concern was always about the families. I
Right.
never, all of our services for the families are free. We
Wow,
don't charge
that's
couples
amazing.
and families for our services. But we do charge obviously for our presentations, our educational presentations. If our sessions with the couples go longer than a certain amount of time, we'll charge them.
Right.
And how to turn things into fundraising and donor process without losing insight to who we are. That is a really big thing that the accelerator taught me.
You like touched on every single piece of the accelerator.
You paid attention.
Maybe could you talk a little bit more about, I guess I'll give you an option, either a little bit more about the mentors and what you learned from them, or what it was like with the other ventures. Like you said, it was like a family, but maybe a little bit more about that.
So the ventures were interesting because we all came to help people. It was all, some of them seemed a little bit ahead of the business. They understood the business part of it. Some of them were also, chesed, mental health field. And some of them I couldn't even figure out why they were there in the beginning. Which was okay, because we all had to learn from each other. And I remember, I would tease that we're like, some of us were a little older and some of them were a little younger. So we had to figure out also just language. I remember, like at the beginning, they were talking about this parking, I think it's the garage part, and we called it the bike rack. And I had no idea what they were talking about, the young people. And it was actually a piece of paper, a chart that you would write an idea on, because you couldn't interrupt somebody that was talking the idea, So it was like all these new techniques to learn about how to mesh together. There was like all the members of the family, the quiet one, the one that was too outspoken. I guess I would talk a lot in my teaching voice. So I sort of had to change that also, like to learn how to, and then also the opposite. We're very business-like, where it was surprising me how, like, even people were dressing so casual and things, even presenters and mentors. So it was sort of learning like a culture, meshing the cultures together, and really, what did it mean to be a cohort, not just, and that was really nice because people were understanding, even when we disagreed and we had to learn from each other. People were really understanding about that, and the activities that we did, the icebreakers, I think really helped. I know for me, besides learning, I taught them that in kindergarten we always do a morning message. I don't know if Zachary.
I actually, with like you wrote out and like there's like fill in the blank stuff.
Yeah. So yeah. When I talked about that the first episode, then Jenna said, okay, we was going to write a morning message every day for us. So I did that, and then someone showed me how to do something on a computer. So there was always a morning message for the cohort. So I think it helped us. It helped us to go back in time to where we had to be part of a class and a group. But even more than just the rules, it really was how to work together, which helped us learn it through the year, but also helped to work with people moving forward, both in the counseling part and the funding aspects of it.
Sounds awesome. Sounds like you both enjoyed and learned a lot.
Yes,
So,
yes.
so now a year after, right, you graduated in September. So almost a year after, what would you say are your biggest highlights and milestones?
So I think one of the biggest is that we decided in September that we were going to separate from the JFCS. We have a wonderful relationship, but we now have the tools and the need to become our own entity, not in the nonprofit status. So we knew what we needed: the lawyer, the accountant, insurance, all the financial parts of it. So we are now almost 501c3 pending. We have to fill in the next, because of COVID, we were a little behind. So we separated from the JFCS as of July 1st. We're handing in our paper to become a nonprofit. We are now under Root Funding Management, which is run by Sandy Unger, who used to be a teacher at Berea, who runs an organization in Israel that we've hired to take our donations through Stripe. She's also we've separated, and we now have plans in place for social media. So we've hired her to oversee our social media, Instagram, Facebook, all those things that we didn't know what to do. So we've increased that. We've added our hotline number. We have an actual phone number. We have somebody volunteering who take the hotline calls. We've added some more volunteers to work for the clients. We've set up process. We've set up real process, intake forms, all those little things that need to be done. We ran our third annual dinner in December, right before COVID, where it's a combination of a memorial and an educational awareness and fundraising. So we have taken really the tools of fundraising and tried to incorporate. This year we had an honoree for the first time, and we knew how to work with the honoree with the in terms of our dinner. So we're growing, and we knew we had the answers to our questions, or at least we had the questions where we had to go find answers from. We definitely have taken this big leap. I have left my teaching jobs and are working full time now.
I will never be the same though without you.
Oh, thank you. And we've increased our capacity on Zoom. We do our Zoom support. We had support groups, 4 live support groups around the tri-state area. Now we run a Zoom support group twice a month with people all over the country. We're starting one in Israel. Our clients are international: Moscow, Australia, South Africa. So we're able to reach with them through technology, which we also learned from the accelerator.
So I know you slightly touched on this, but how big was your company like before, and how big is it like before the accelerator, but now how big is your team now? It sounds like you got a lot bigger since.
So we have a lawyer who's also on our board. We've hired. We have our accountant that's working on our financial parts. We have an insurance agent, basic things like that. We hired a social media consultant. We have added, I am the only paid employee of Nechama Comfort. We have added volunteers to work with the clients to free up, even though my passion and my love is to work with the clients, I realize I have to do a lot of the business, fundraising, all that.
Right.
So that's what we've added to the.
That's probably pretty tough to like take a step back and realize that even though it's something that you love, but like you do a better role in a different spot.
It was hard because it wasn't just that I manufacture a product. These were families that I had to be very sure of who we trained to take over with the grief counseling, because it wasn't just a mistake that they could make, like a substitute teacher. If they don't learn math, okay, they'll get a tutor. This was really, such a big commodity. These are families. So it was hard for me to deal with it, but felt confident who I brought on.
Wow.
Sounds like you've really grown a lot and hit a lot of milestones. What are future goals that you have for Nechama Comfort?
Future goals, which I will say because it's the accelerator, is to raise a lot more money, to understand that we were good in how we could help people. But knowing that the key for us from the accelerator was to understand that we need to raise money in order for this to exist. I remember somebody from one of the mentors said to me, Reva, you're doing God's work. You are really, your organization is doing God's work, but God doesn't pay your mortgage. And that was that first time I learned, and I get it. I really get it now. So it's really to fundraise and receive the donations so that we can continue working, helping families, being able to especially now with where we at with Zoom, to be able to educate communities all over the world, to be able to educate so family members, Jewish communities, funeral homes, hospitals, doctors, siblings, relatives can help this couple. And I don't want couples to suffer the way I necessarily and my husband suffered because there was no support and guidance.
Do you have any inspiring or interesting stories that maybe like somewhere along the way in Nechama Comfort, like maybe with a family or something that you've seen like had an impact on someone?
So it's interesting. The last 2 weeks, for whatever reason, have been interesting weeks. 3 of our clients from the past, not necessarily one from recent, a couple years ago, who experienced infant loss, had brisses, and because of Zoom, I was able to attend their bris
Wow,
of their next children. We were
it's
able
amazing.
to participate in a breakfast that a couple had who lost a 20-month-old. So really we were only working with families up to the age of 1, but even now toddlers have come to us because they don't find that support and guidance in other organizations. So we were able to participate in something that they did, and not, we don't talk about when I give my programs, my education programs, I don't end necessarily with, and now we live happily ever after, because that's, you want to be happy in your new norm, but it's really when I look around and I get these phone calls and these texts and these messages, not necessarily that the end was another baby, because it may not have been their goal either, but to watch them go through this process, or like we did with the brisses, and but also when they call and they go, I'm ready to give back, I want to volunteer, you were right, and to see, now that I've been doing this a long time, to see how families have been able to get through it, and even my own family, that they've been able to know about their brother that had passed away first, to know about Nechama Comfort before it was normal, and to see that my daughters went on to get married, grandchildren, that it's become a part of the culture. That even my son Yakir, who well, even in high school, I made it a point, or even junior high, if I couldn't drive carpool to hockey, I would hear him say to his friend, my mom does that support group for people that lost babies, so she can't drive today. it became, to see how that has become and how they've been able to go through it and to watch other families as well. So that's what we're proud of, and we hope to be able to consider.
So you're changing not only other people's lives, but you're starting first and foremost with your family. So
That's what we're trying. That's what we're trying to be.
Start at home and go further from there.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you actually like really shifted in, like for yourself, you like totally became this business person. So what's now your favorite part of doing that?
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't think I haven't become the business person. I have my team that I know who to go to, and it was hard because I am not, when I went to school to become a teacher, I knew that I only wanted to teach lower grades because they were shorter than me. Like I wasn't, prepared. So, it's, nobody, when people ask me to volunteer, most of them all say, I don't fundraise, I wouldn't call it fun, but it's amazing to see that I have the confidence now to be able to get that challenge and remember what everyone taught us, Stephen Weil and everyone about, like, how, I was just talking to our team. We have a team meeting every Tuesday, and I said, so-and-so I'm courting. I'm going to, it's accepting this challenge, actually, how to court the person, to do all the steps in order to hopefully receive that donation. I still do not want to become a business person, but see the importance and it's a challenge that I've taken on it to feel good about accepting the challenge and still looking. I'm always in touch with Jenna, with mentors, and continuing that relationship.
Amazing. So just curious, how come you chose the name Nechama Comfort?
So it was interesting how to choose the name. My son name is Pesach, who passed away. So we were trying a name for that. It actually, it was just me at the time. And going back and forth, my husband, my family, was back. So Nechama means comfort. So that's why we chose it. We added comfort because there was another organization that had the word Nechama in it that didn't have the legal name, but
you had the legal name?
They didn't have the name legally.
But you did?
So we had the name license. It's all a matter of paying your $75, and but if you're under your own entity. So we just changed the name to Nechama Comfort, which actually was good because we moved into circles of Jews that aren't familiar with Hebrew, the non-Jewish world. So it actually worked together to Nechama Comfort. And our logo, which is the tree, which is a leaf, which is a symbol of infant pregnancy loss. If you go up to a hospital, God forbid, and you see a picture of a leaf on a door in the maternity ward, labor and delivery, you know that family has lost a baby, so people understand that. So, and we put my son in there with the heart to represent my son in the logo. Wow. So that's how we came up with the name.
Very nice. So it sounds like Nechama Comfort, and it sounds like you had a great experience in the accelerator and you are doing great things with Nechama Comfort. So just to end off, do you have any tips for someone who wants to start their own venture and sort of doesn't know how to start but has this great idea?
And is a kindergarten teacher.
It's interesting because people are reaching out to me. I just had a friend of mine who said her son is thinking of this organization, whatever. And
but you've become the point person.
So it's interesting. And I'm like, well, you have to, you have to be passionate about your idea. You have to know that it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, it should not happen as long as it took us, me, 33 years, but everything in its right time. And it's a process. It's not like I have an idea. You have to know how to make your idea work in the world. What sets you apart from everybody else, because everybody's idea is a great idea. We all want to fix it and save the world. But to understand that if you want to succeed, you've got to go through the steps and the business part of it, and open yourself up to, because you think you have all that knowledge on one hand about your organization, but open yourself to listening, mentors, questions, speaking to people, and never lose the passion.
That's pretty good advice.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess that kind of wraps up our whole interview. This was so much fun and so informative. So informative, Reva. This was great. Thanks so much for speaking with us. I had so much fun.
It was great for me too, really. I see everybody.
Yeah, you're like a celebrity now. It's awesome.
Oh, well, you guys are great, and you're the future celebrities, so good luck to you. That's
Yeah.
where it's at. All right. Everyone be well, stay well, and stay safe.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.